And welcome back to Zendikar Rising spoilers again in my temporary pad, which I'm very much digging. If my friend ever goes out again, I might offer to house it just so I can have a nice quiet place to do videos. But anyway, we're still talking about Zendikar Rising. We still got plenty to talk about. We're probably about halfway through the cards at this point, but still. Let's just get into it. Scavenged Blade is one red, one of any color for an equipment, common. Another one that basically comes out equipped to something. And the equipped creature just gets +2/+0. Normal equipped cost is 1 red, 2 of any color. It's fine. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It's not terrible. Even at common, it's not bad. It's just, there's far better cards you can be playing. So take that for what it's worth. Grakma Skyclave Ravager is 1 black, 1 green, and 1 of any color for a 0/0 legendary creature, Hydra horror, rare. Enters the battlefield with 3/1 counters on it, meaning it's a 3/3 for 3. Whenever another creature you control dies, if it had a +1 counter on it, put a +1 counter on this card. When this creature dies, you put an XX black and green Hydra creature token, where X is the number of +1 counters on this card. So essentially, it's power and toughness. Minus any aura or enchantment or artifact equipment pump shenanigans. At first, when I saw this card spell, I'm like, look, it's focusing mostly just, again, and this and like Oran Reef Ooze, we'll get to next one over. Yeah, they're focusing on other cards that have +1 counters. If you don't have other cards that have +1 counters on them, most of these types of cards aren't going to be as effective. You have to kind of plan your deck out in that sense. Now, that said, in the proper deck, in the deck that's actually using this and using it effectively, this one's going to be it has no trample or anything like that, but it kind of doesn't need it. It's going to replace itself. And even then, it's still a 3/3 for 3, so already it's on the curb. So I like it, and the art's pretty pretty nice too. I do like the art. Oran Reef Ooze is in a similar state. 1 green, 2 of any color for a 2/2 Ooze. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So right off the bat, you are basically putting a counter on it. If you play these two together, you would be getting benefits out of it. You could put a +1 counter on it, for example. Whenever this card attacks, put a +1 counter on each attacking creature with a +1 counter on it, and that is fueling the +1 counters. Ew, excuse me. This thing could actually quickly pump this guy up pretty well. And I have decks I can fit both these guys into. So these are on the better side of the curve when it comes to usability with a +1 counter shtick, but I would still be wary if you're going to go that route. Ghastly Gloom Hunter is a 1/0. It's a 1/1 black, 1 of any color, 1/1 zombie bat. If it was kicked, it comes out with 2 +1 counters, and you can kick it for 1 black and 3 of any color. And it's got flying and life. Like, okay, honestly, I'd probably just play it for the 1/1, not the 3/3. It's 3/3 flying lifelink for 6 mana really isn't worth it. At least not in my opinion. There are far better creatures you can do for less. Hell, that's where was it? Tempest Elemental, was it? No, Tempest Elemental. We've already passed Tempest Elemental on this site. So, but yeah, Tempest Elemental. I think that's better. It's cheaper naturally than that. It doesn't have the lifelink, but it's still 3/3 flying. So, and I think it had flash too, if I'm not forgetting, or if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, okay for like a 2-drop if you need it. It's got evasion and it's got lifelink, so if it blocks, you're going to gain actually 1 life. So take that for what it's worth. Shadow's Verdict is 2 black, 3 of any color for a sorcery. Rare. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield. And all creatures and planeswalker cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from all graveyards. Seems to be a bit of a focus in this for black to be for this set to kind of be taken on creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. I am noticing a lot of those in the set now that I actually say that out loud. There's actually a lot of creatures I've been noticing with 3 mana or less. And just looking at this page alone, I'm seeing converted mana cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then if we go up for a minute, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so actually, no. I mean, in a sealed environment, these types of cards are actually going to be pretty effective because there actually are quite a few things that don't. And I get it now that I think about it for more than a second. Because of Kicker, a lot of things have lower mana cost, but actually have larger mana cost if you want their full effect. So I get it. I'm not certain if I love it, but I get it. Otherwise, it's okay, especially if you got your opponent's got like a bunch of tokens on the field, you're just gonna wipe those out. Fellow Darber Chi is 1 white, 3 of any color for an enchantment. Rare. Landfall. Obviously, we know what landfall does. One of two options when you landfall. Create a 2/2 white cat creature token, or put a +1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures get vigilance till the end of turn. Frankly, it's just going to be a matter of what. I mean, it's 4 mana. 4 mana can be hefty at points, but with Mana Ramp, you can get this out in turn 3, no problem. Maybe even turn 2 if you're lucky, especially with Lotus Cobra on this set. So, I mean, turn 3 is probably more reasonable, though. Turn 2 is lucky. And not impossible, but lucky. But that being said, it's just going to be a matter of what your board state's like. Do you have creatures on the field? If not, you're going to want to get 2/2 cat out to help block. Otherwise, do you have more than a creature or two, or basically one or more creatures on the field? You're probably actually going to want to go for the +1 counter and the vigilance. So either way, it's a good card. It's going to help you when you're behind, and it's going to help you when you're ahead. So I like it. The only issue is you need land. So if you don't have land to play, this card's not doing anything. That is the one downside to this. Sizzling Barrage is 1 red, 1 of any color, for a instant common. This card deals 4 damage to a target creature that blocked this turn. Now, see, this is actually really freaking interesting. Is it still on here, the card I looked at earlier? No, we passed the card. I talked about a card yesterday that's a white card that's just dealing straight damage, which is a red thing to do, and white doesn't do that almost ever. This is doing the exact opposite. Red almost never does damage in this way, where it's basically attacking or blocking, which is weird that it's still within its ability to do so, but it's just kind of weird. Thundering Rebuke is 1 red, 1 of any color for a sorcery. There it is. Sorcery uncommon, deals 4 damage to target creature or player. If any of you remember the original Rise of Eldrazi, there was a card, I believe it's Flame Blast. Basically, it does pretty much the exact same thing as that, minus the fact that it's not targeting planeswalkers, because that was before those effects really started to take place. It costs 1 color less. It was red. Just 1 red. But it's still and here comes Pumpkin. I must have the attention. I know you love me. Love me, because you need love. It's okay, I'm loving you. So yeah, basically I feel like they felt that was too powerful to print again this time. That probably would actually be near rare level at this point. Because 4 damage for 1 mana on any creature is actually kind of nuts. And I mean, the only thing that was really stopping it was sorcery speed. But giving stuff flash and stuff. Look, I stopped saying stuff so much. By giving something flash, because there's blue-red decks, that quickly became obsolete. So, I think this is just them realizing that, we want to try to reprint that again, but we don't want to make it as strong, so let's at least make someone pay an extra mana for it this time. So good card. It's going to be pretty solid removal, that's for sure. Soaring Thought Thief is 1 black, 1 blue for a human rogue, uncommon, 1/3, flash flying. When an opponent, as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, rogues you control get +1/+0. And whenever 1 or more rogues you control attack, each opponent mills 2 cards. So it's benefiting rogues, but you have to be in a mill deck basically for this card to really make any sense. Because otherwise your rogue deck, if it's not really focusing on the mill, you're going to have a harder time getting that effect off. Not to say it's going to be impossible, it's just going to be harder. And then you got to deal with the fact with the rogues that you basically, they're going to have some pretty solid effects. And if he's milling every time he attacks, I think I just got some hair in my throat. I'm almost certain that's what I got in my throat. Yeah. God, you're shedding, buddy. Sorry, that really threw me off. It's like his hair is literally just floating in the air here while I'm talking. He's uncommon, so you can have 4 copies on the field, which you might be able to get some value out of that, I suppose. I don't know. It's just sort of okay. Glasspool Mimic. Again, it can turn into a blue land that comes out tapped. Moving on. 1 red, 1 blue, 2 of any color for a 0/0 shapeshifter rogue. When he enters the battlefield, he enters as a copy of a creature you control, except he's also a shapeshifter rogue. So basically, he's designed to kind of add to the party. Obviously, rogues and all that. He works great with the Soaring Thought Thief, and he can just become any. So he can just become a copy of any creature on the field. So let's say you want to make him a copy of the Sphinx. There you go. It's also just a Sphinx Wizard Rogue, and so have fun with that. Territorial Scythe Cat. It's now a Cat Rogue Shapeshifter. Oh, Cat Rogue. Anyway, Zombie Bat Rogue. Have all fun. Kitty, you can't keep clawing at me. You have a scratching post. Oh, God. So, most low drop clones are pretty solid. So, yeah, this is probably in the same vein. Master of Winds. 2 blue, 2 of any color for a 1/4 Sphinx Wizard rare. Enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, and discard a card. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell or a wizard spell, you may have this card have its base become either 4/1 or 1/4 until the end of turn. Interesting. We haven't seen these swap effects in a while. You are so adorable. Oh my God, you're so adorable. You are. You're such a silly boy. He really is adorable. It's like, your mom's a lucky mom to have you as her cat. She really is. It's like, oh, he's just nuzzling me like, I love you. Not rubbing your belly. He's weird about getting his belly rubbed. It's like, he kind of wants to get it rubbed, but he always kicks your hand away. So it's like, I'll rub the outside, like his side. Like, he likes that. He does. Yeah, get that pooch. Anyway, not playing with the cat. Let's talk about the flying cat lady. Good segue, I think. And then talk about the other cat. Yeah, we haven't seen these swap effects in a while. So, that's kind of interesting. It all depends on how good the instant or sorcery you're playing or wizard spell is. If you're playing one of those instants or sorceries that might pump her base stats up, that actually could work in your favor. Like if you use, say, a Giant Growth on her and make her a 7/4, or instead of a 1 by swapping him out. So, yeah, that could work. That could easily work. I could see the ways this card works. Definitely. It's definitely a card you need to work with, but you could make it work. Yeah. Territorial Scythe Cat is 1 green, 2 of any color for a trample. 2/1 landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter on this card. Again, you could probably get out with Lotus Cobra on turn 2, no problem. And at that point, it is just a ticking time bomb. Even if you got it out on turn 3 with 3 lands and nothing and no other ramp, you were probably running at minimum another 17 lands in your deck. If you got any way to return lands, then you got that. There's no reason this thing can't become a 4/3, 5/4 trample. There's no reason it can't do that. This thing is a clock. Your opponent's going to have to deal with this, and they're going to have to deal with it fast. And you'll have to deal with it if you're going up against fast. Like, early turns is not going to be that big a problem. Like, it going up against the Master of Winds, for example. Yes. Hi. Oh my God. You were in my lap, and now you're on my shoulder, like a pirate cat. Are you going to be my parrot for my pirate escapades? I'll wear you like a parrot. Anyway, yeah. Toe-to-toe, like, the Master Winds would decimate the cat early on. Like, if these guys somehow came out on the same turn, fine. To say 3 turns later when 2 lands have popped up, you now have a 4/3 Trampler going up against the 1/4 Sphinx that maybe isn't able to pump up or anything like that. The Sphinx immediately gets outclassed. If you're able to pump it up even more, then you got another ticking time bomb, 5/4 and 6/5. Again, it's not unreasonable to get this to something like a 4/3 or a 5/4 within a few turns if you're not careful. Or if your opponent's not careful, or if you're not careful playing against it. So, yeah, don't sleep on this card. This card could be a sleeper uncommon or a sleeper common. I like it, and it's got good art too. Like it's just a badass cat, and I like it. It goes in my cat deck, no problem. Oh boy, Agadeem's Awakening. This is the mythic land of the set. I think we've seen the only one we haven't seen is the white. We've seen the green, the red, and the blue, and now we got the black, which seems to currently be the best one. 3 black X. Sorcery, uncommon, mythic, return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards, each have a different converted mana cost of X or less. So again, if you've got a lot of variety in your graveyard, and you can get this off for, say, I don't know, X equals, let's see, 3, 4, so 1 minimum. If you can get that X off for at least 4 to 5, you'll have a good big words here. you'll have a good rate on that, I think. If you can, I mean, if you can late game this for a lot, then you'll be sitting pretty, definitely. Yeah, sir. I mean, black. I've been on record saying black's my least favorite color to play with, but I will recognize they get a lot of good cards. Cyan of Swarm. This one not really one of them. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not one of the better cards. 2 black, 3 of any color for a Vampire Cleric, uncommon, flying. When you gain life, put a +1 counter on this card. Pretty simple. There's clearly plenty of ways to gain life in this set. And, I mean, it's a 3/3 flying for 5. So it was already kind of playable as it is. The fact that if you're in the right deck type, that you'll be gaining life. This thing could also be a clock. Yeah, because it's also got evasion. So, I'll take it back. I think this is a good card. It is expensive at 5 mana, though. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not like 3 black and X, but it's not cheap. Fireblade Charger is 1 red. For a Goblin Warrior, uncommon, 1/1. As long as this card is equipped, it has haste. When it dies, deal damage equal to its power to any target. Seems reasonable. I mean, you play the Scavenged Blade on it, you're immediately making it into a 3/1, and then it can come in and do some damage for a little bit. It's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. Rooster Drake is 1 blue, with a kicker enchantment uncommon, with a kicker of 1 blue, 2 of any color. Enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, create a 2/2 blue Drake, and whenever you kick a spell, you create a 2/2 blue Drake with flying. So you pay 4 to get a 2/2 flyer, essentially. And then if you're playing other kick spells, which I'm guessing you will be in this set, or in this type of deck that you're running, you'll get another Drake. Okay, I mean, rewarding you for kicking while getting this whatever reward the kicking was giving you, I'm okay with that. It makes the kicking more, yes, hello. It makes the kicking more usable, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, this one's cheap too, so even if you don't kick it, you'll be able to get benefits pretty early on. Base Camp is an uncommon land that comes out tapped. You can tap it for 1 colorless, or add 1 mana of any color to spend only on Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard spells, or to activate the abilities of such types. Obviously going into the party deck. And if it's in the party deck, woohoo! Otherwise, it's kind of just a useless card. You're just better off using a non-basic land, or a basic land. Ancient Green Warden is 2 green, 4 of any color for a mythic rare elemental 5/7 with reach, and you may play lands from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability or a permanent you control to trigger, the ability triggers an additional time, so you're basically getting double the landfall. If for some miracle reason you have multiple copies of this out on the field, you should be winning very thoroughly with 2 5/7s on the field. But even if you're not, you're getting triple or quadruple. Sorry, cat hair still. You're getting an additional thing. Yeah, you're getting triple the amount of the effect. So, I mean, right off the bat, there's already a card that does the play lands. There's actually several. There's Crucible Worlds. There is the Naga from Amonkhet that I'm forgetting. Or is it Hour of Devastation? I want to say it's Hour of Devastation, I think that one came in. Which I have, which if I ever decide to really make a landfall deck, I'll probably move him to a different deck. He's currently sitting in my Gate Infect deck. Otherwise, no, this is a good, because it's a 5/7 with at least one other ability to it. It's not just a beat stick. It can block flyers, which is a very big deal. So it's a good card. Bane Veil. 1 blue, 1 of any color for an instant, uncommon. Target creatures your opponent control get -2/-0 until the end of turn. It's a combat trick. It's fine. Not amazing, just fine. Strength of Solidarity. I believe I already know this card. Oh, no, I don't. I was thinking of a different card. 1 green, sorcery, common. Choose target creature you control, gets +1 a counter on it for each creature in your party. If you've got the party deck going on, this will actually be a pretty solid card. Otherwise, it's actually useless if you don't have any of these creatures in your deck. So deal with that. No Priest of Oblivion is 1 black, 1 of any color for a 2/1 Vampire Cleric rare. Kicker, 1 black, 3 of any color for a grand total of 6, 2 black and 4 of any color, with Menace and Lifelink. When this card enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Here's the thing. This card's actually good on its own without even kicking. It's a 2/1 for 2 with menace and lifelink. 2 relevant abilities. One's gaining you life and one is getting damaged through more often. You kick it, you return anything to this is a great. This is actually a card that if you need something on the field early game, great. But if you know you might need this later on and you don't have another copy in your deck for some reason, you might want to actually hold on to it. It's actually one of those few cards that I'd actually say hold on to it and use it for the kicker cost more than you'd use it as the actual creature. But also as the actual creature, it's good. It's a good creature. So I actually like that one quite a bit. I see a kicker card every now and then I like. Cargon Warleader is 1 white, 1 red, 1 of any color for a 3/3 human warrior, uncommon. Other warriors you control get +1/+1. If you're in a warrior deck, good for you. Otherwise, it's fine. It's a 3/3 for 3. It's in 2 colors, will make it a little bit more difficult to play, but still a 3/3 for 3. Smite the Monstrous gets a reprint. Good for it. And it's fine. Tuckrook, Rubble Fort. Gotta love the names at Wizards. 1 red, 2 of any color for a 0/1 wall. Defender, reach, and creatures you control have haste. You don't see reach on red very often, so that's interesting. It does happen on rare occasions, but you don't see it that often. And you have other creatures say, it's not bad. It's a 3/0/3 wall that does nothing but give haste. So, that being said, it's, Fervor? It's basically an upgraded version of Fervor. That's exactly what it is. It's Fervor on a stick that can block. Now, against something that's, say, Thundering Rebuke, that would just blow that thing to hell. But still, most of the time, you can block with it, and it's giving things haste, so that's actually not terrible. Relic Vial is 3 of any color for a artifact uncommon. You can pay 2, tap this card, sacrifice a creature, and draw a card. As long as you control a cleric, this card has whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If you're in a token type of deck, great. Otherwise, yeah, I'd skip it. Relic Golem is the golem that was told is a 6/6 that costs 3. This card can't attack or block unless an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Very interesting. And you can pay 2, tap this to mill 2 cards. This one I like. I like this one. The other one, which was based off the party, I wasn't feeling that one as much. Because the realistic scenario is you're not going to get it out as easy as you think you are, I think. This guy, you can get it out no problem. It just can't do anything for a little while. But again, it's not hard to get 8 cards in a graveyard. So even without a mill deck. So I like this guy. You can definitely find some homes in some decks. Deliberate is 1 blue, 1 of any color for a instant common. Scry 2, then draw 1. I heard people basically say it's preordained, but they basically added 1 extra mana to it, and it's an instant. And that is not inaccurate. It is preordained, just a little bit more expensive, but easier to play because it can be played at any time. Yeah, I like it. You're scrying for 2 and you're drawing a card regardless. So yeah, I like it. I think it's good. Let's see here. We have Clave Squid. I love that Squid's a creature type. 1 blue, 1 of any color for a 3/2 Squid Defender. Landfall basically means it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Basically, you will be playing it mostly as a blocker, but if you can attack with it, go ahead. It's not amazing, but I've seen worse. Yeah, I've definitely seen worse. This is a mythic rare human. Is that a mythic rare? I don't think so. I think that's just standard rare. Sorry. Nimble Trap Finder. This guy looks like he should belong in either Kaladesh or Mirrodin. What the hell? 1 blue, 1 of any color for a 2/1 human rogue. This card can't be blocked if you have another cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard enter the battlefield under your control this turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control have whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card until the end of turn. Interesting. The chances of a full party are slim, but the chances that you can get his first effect off and it can't be blocked, that is pretty reasonable, honestly. I like the art's pretty cool. I don't know about this one. This one's kind of weird. And then we have Shattered Skull Attacker. He is a 4/3 for 2 red and 1 of any color. Let's see, red. This looks like he's a giant warrior. because it just has it's not because looks like Gigante. It looks like it's in Spanish. Anyway, 4/3 with kicker of 2, so ultimately he'd be a 4/3 for 5 with trample and haste. If kicked, he enters with 1/+1 counter on it, so actually he'd now be a 5/4 with trample and haste. Oh, you silly. At the beginning of your end step, goes back to your hand unless it has a counter on it. Okay. So Archangel Dragon or Archfiend Dragon from Avacyn Restored. That's what it reminds me of. Not quite the same level, not quite the same kind of. Actually, if anything, it's a little better. It's actually got the option of not doing that. So yeah, I'd say this one's actually probably worth the kicker cost. Also, yeah, I like this one. I could see me playing it. Last 3, we have Thundering Spark Mage, 1 red, 3 of any color for a 2/2 human wizard, uncommon. Enters the battlefield. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. X is the number of creatures in your party. At worst, it's dealing 1. At best, it's dealing 4. Great. I don't really have much else to say. Then we have this guy, Veralzo. I mean, we don't know the actual full name about it. What I do know is that Verazol is the actual name of the creature. Apparently, it's some sort of it is a legendary multicolored green-blue serpent, or 1 green, 1 blue, and X and 0/0. Whenever this enters the battlefield, this card enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it for each mana used to cast it. That's actually kind of interesting. If I'm reading that right, that means that the 2 green and blue, the 2 colored mana count towards its power and toughness as well. So it enters as a 3/3 minimum. So that's actually kind of cool. Or you frankly X can be 0/2, so it can enter as a 2/2 if you really need it to. Whenever you cast a kicker spell, you may remove 2 +1 counters from this card. And if you do, copy that spell. You may choose a new target for that copy. That's interesting. I mean, that's rewarding you for really maxing it out. And in a kicker deck, getting more copies of spells is interesting. Well, hold on one second. Is that did it say non-creature spell? Kick spell. Whenever you cast a kicked spell, you may remove 2 +1 counters. You copy that spell, choose a new target. Okay, maybe there might be a translation issue, because that means you could theoretically copy a kicked creature spell and make a copy and choose a new target for it. That just means make a copy, make a token. Hopefully we'll get a translation on that. Last but not least, for at least today, is Myriad Construct. Is a 4/4 construct for 4. Kicker 3, so it means 7 at most. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it for each non-basic land your opponent controls. If they control no non-basic lands, you're screwed. But fortunately, because of all the way, I get why the non-basic land thing is a thing in this deck because of the module spells, but still. When this card becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colors artifact creature construct. When this card becomes the target of the spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colors construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. So at minimum, it's going to be making 4 little 1/1s. Who knows what the maximum could be. Interesting. The art, by the way, doesn't feel very Zendikar-y. I don't even feel like that. Looking at it now, it does look like it's made from Hedrons, but I'll be honest, that feels like some Silent Hill kind of art right there, or something very macabre. Either way, and yeah, don't mind the ads, by the way. Sorry about that. That's just the way that's the way they do business. Anyway, wait, there we go. Nope, there we go. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. That's my thoughts on today's cards. Didn't even run me at 30 minutes this time. I'm so impressed with myself. Thanks for watching. See you next time. What If will be up tomorrow. So later, folks.